Bel and his family. Bel has been the greatest demon of the ancient Middle East for thousands of years. Names like Paul are derived from Baal, and the ancient country of Palestine simply means Palestine, or the land of Baal, because countries were always named after demons. The city name of Palmyra means the dying Bel. It is not an insult to call him a dying demon, rather it indicates to his cycle and death, and he's coming back. Cities like Hatra in present-day Iraq, Palmyra in Syria, and Petra in Jordan have preserved a lot of his cult. His Majesty Demon Baal married his own mother Asherah, or Ashina, and had 3 daughters. Here in symbolism, a bull married his own mother, who is a wolf, and she gave birth to 3 girls. Hurrians were an important nation of this era, who handled the religious cult in Nineveh, the capital of Assyria, and Hatra. Thus, the Hurrian names of these girls are Sai, Pidrai, and Tallai, which are Hebrew-Turkic, are important. I in the end is Turkish for moon. All 3 girls have moon in the end, meaning they belong to the moon. The first one, Sai, here, according to the Hurrian mythology, is the queen of the underworld. This epithet means she is the one who is buried alive, and she is the god. Look at her name, Sai. Put away I, and there remains Ars. Ars is the most important sacred 3-letter which always indicates to the god who is the girl. Ars, both in Hebrew and Arabic, means earth. The English word earth itself is taken from Ars. You remember that the girl is earth, which is symbolized by a star and is always held between the 2 horns of his father demon. Thus, there is no doubt that Sai is the god who goes to the underworld after his father Baal was killed and the cycle stopped. Name of daughter. Right now, all of you as our audience are historical inspectors, and you must be intelligent. What death does is just repeating a story again and again. Kill the girl who has successfully managed to take the crown and throne. The greatest name of Jahi is Ah. We told you that female deity should have 2 female parts like XX. Thus, the full name of female god in Persian is Jehoah. The Farsi language O or V in the middle means and. For better pronunciation, it is usually written as Jehovah. Thus, Jehovah is a full female name of God. If you are hearing this for the first time, you will be surprised that the name of the god of Judaism and Christianity is the name of the Persian female god. But don't forget that Death is a male, and he takes the name of the girl after he buries her alive. As we have said many times, it is obvious that Death is the god of Judaism. He has killed the girl and stolen the name. But this purely feminine name is a clear sign that shows he has killed the god. Allah Gula. Okay, let's go back to the case of Canaan. Only one of the 3 girls is God, and Hurrians call her Arsai. But the simple Hurrian word for girl is Allah. Allah means the girl. Even in Assyria, Allah means the lady. We will say that Shushka, being the highest lady of Elamite and Assyria, was called Allai Nineveh, meaning the lady of Nineveh. The record of Allah as the girl goes back very deep in history. The oldest civilization ever known is Sumer, where Inanna is famous. But one of the most prominent female deities of Sumer, which is overlooked even though she is well documented, is Allah Gula. In Sumerian, Gul means very great. This word has been left in Arabic as Ghul and in Greek as Kul in names like Hercules. Allah Gula means the greatest lady, or the girl who is the most prominent, with her record going back to at least 5,000 years BC. We said that Ah is the greatest name of the same girl, and her full name must be in the form of XX, with two female components. Therefore, Allah plus Ah makes Allah. The A in the beginning is short A, while A in the middle is always a long A. When Mot kills Bel and kidnaps the girl, he steals her name. Thus, death introduces himself as Allah. After all, Allah can be interpreted as Allah, the father for the daughter, and it cannot be void of meaning, while unbreakable Allah is much older, and the correct combination making Allah is Allah plus Ah. Again, this is an obvious female name, just like what we see in the case of Jehovah. It is a repetitive story. Death knows no one will accept him as death, so he buries the girl and takes the female name for himself. You may think that this plan is stupid, but death is not only the lord of all killers, but he is the lord of all liars. Therefore, in the next step, death claims that this is a male name, and it has been his name from the very beginning. And we should believe that Allah has been a male name for thousands of years, while it is a lie, and Allah is and has always been a female name. It purely means girl or lady in all ancient civilizations of this region for thousands of years. They took the name and they killed everyone who thought otherwise. But for us, it is a clear reason showing he is exactly death himself, and the same person has buried the true Allah alive. Even now, after 1,400 years, no one can speak about this truth. And when the truth is not spoken of, it will be buried. What about Muhammad? During the early centuries after Christ, within Arabia, the nomads called the three girls with the names Allat, Uzza, and Manat. Please note, when we speak about centuries after Christ, Baal has been killed for many centuries in Canaan, and Mot has taken the heaven. The Arabic tribes of this time used letter T in the end of every female name to show it is feminine. Therefore, among them, the ancient girl Allah became Allat. We said that Muhammad had brought a Magi or pagan religion. If you look at his family structure, he is identical with His Majesty Baal himself, because he is moon, and Muhammad means moon worshipper. His wife is 15 years older than him, like Baal model. He has 3 daughters, but only one of them is God or Allah. Her name is Fatima, and Muhammad adores her to the degree of worship. Muhammad is strongly against burying girls alive. This was a tradition carried on by the nomads after Mot had taken power and introduced himself as Allah and buried the true Allah alive. But the nomads of Arabia, who Muslims call them mushrik, strongly believe that Allah is the father of the 3 daughters, Allat, Uzza, and Manat. In this stage, death has killed Demon, the father of 3 girls, and has stolen the name of Allah for himself. Therefore, in this period of pre-Islam, we have an interesting coexistence of Allah and Allat together. Only this letter T separates the two from being mixed, and this balance is very fragile. Death does not share power with anyone, but for nomads to accept him as God, he should have these 3 daughters. Thus, the nomads of Arabia before Islam insisted that Allah is the father of the 3 girls. Imagine Muhammad was a magi, like what we said. He would have witnessed that death has killed the demon and stolen the name of Allah the girl and buried her alive. Death had no name, so he calls himself Allah, the father of Allat, Uzza and Manat. Oh man, this is quite a mess, and someone should undertake a major reform to kick out death and bring the girl back to its place. But this reform is too tricky. It's like a sensitive surgery. If the operation is not successful, not only Allah will not be retrieved from the underworld, but also death will eat all other family members and become one and only God. Unfortunately, we see that at the end of this operation, the latter happened, and death took the whole stage and became one and only God called Allah. Hubal. Now that we have reached this point, I wish to speak about Hubal. Even though among mushriks mythology had been distorted, but at this stage can be seen as an intermediate stage which can convey some messages to us, because after Muhammad died, death almost immediately took control and overthrew his pagan religion once and forever. Usually when God as a female daughter goes to the underworld, she collects the pieces of her dead father's body, mates with him using magic, and gives birth to a son. In ancient Egypt, when Osiris died, Isis gathered his body parts and used magic to become pregnant from his dead body and gave birth to Horus. We believe that the same thing happened with Persephone, giving birth to Perseus, and with Anahita, giving birth to Mitra, meaning the son of the dead one. Horus or Perseus or Mitra are the Messiah, who comes when religion is dead and death has taken control of everything. Usually in such a special birth, mother gives one of her own names to this boy. For example, when Jehovah or Jahi gives birth to Messiah, she names him Jesus. In the case of Arabic tribes of pre-Islam, Allah gives birth after Baal, her father, is dead, but gives the Messiah boy a name of the father rather than herself, Hubal. Hu in Arabic means he is. Then Hubal means he is Baal. As if when Baal is dead, Allah gives birth to a replacement. Therefore, Hubal is not a Messiah. He is Baal himself, but he is Baal after his deadly fight with Mot. It means they knew that Mot has killed Baal and taken the office of heaven. The statue of Baal was made of red opal or an onyx stone and was placed in the most important corner inside Kaaba. His body is red. It means he is covered with blood because Mot had beheaded the demon. More importantly, Baal statues always have one hand up and one hand down, meaning he has both worlds, heaven and underworld. But the right hand of Hubal, indicating to heaven, is always broken, meaning the realm of heaven is taken away from him. This makes Hubal something exactly equal to Hades of Greek mythology. Nomads have made a golden right arm for him and believed in his oracles offered by throwing arrows towards him. The Islamic slogans. With Hubal, Baal had given his old post to death and came down to the next generation. Mushriks thought since Hubal is his son, then he is the new generation God and he is greater than his mother Allah, who they called Allat. Hubal for them was the greatest. Muhammad had put a condition that if any of them wanted to become a Muslim, first of all, he should confess that Allah is greater. So the first thing Muhammad taught them was Allahu Akbar, meaning Allah is greater, which makes sense. Later, when after Muhammad died and death took everything, this motto became meaningless. Greater than what? Nothing was left to be greater of, but Muslims decided not to think and continue repeating it many times every day. The other important Islamic phrase that anybody who says it by heart will be considered a Muslim is La ilaha illallah, meaning there is no God but Allah. For the pagan or the Magi Islam, this sentence is absolutely correct and important because, as we said, God is only one and she is the daughter of demon. This sentence prevents from considering death as God or pantheon of other deities as gods. God is only one. But later, when Islam became monotheistic and death became the only deity, they pretended that demons had been gods and they are making sure that only death will ever prevail. Therefore, both Allahu Akbar and La ilaha illallah are valid pagan sentences while they are brought and used in monotheistic literature. I understand that many of you guys have run away from religion altogether, correctly feeling that the present guy is evil. And there are many who even despise the names of Jehovah and Allah. Giving you every right for this feeling, I ask you to consider the truth and have pity towards the feminine reality of God, whose names being Jehovah and Allah was stolen by the evil Grim Reaper, who has corrupted these sacred names with his conduct. In our next program, we will discuss why Allah as a girl needs a tomb and why Muslims kiss the earth in prayers because Allah, the girl, who is the one and only God, is still buried in the underworld. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and push the